So we're ready to shift right to the core frequency of what inspires you the most right now. There has been such a powerful call for inner and outer decisiveness. I get the sense that you, me, others, we are at this juncture where we've received enough information, we've received enough theory. We're simply interested in applying this into practice in our lives. And so I imagine, alchemist, creator, if you found this video, there is a level of reality, a way of living that you feel absolutely ready to embody and to live right now. And there is much that you have done to shift in your life. But let's say maybe there's a little bit of wiggly pieces that have been stuck on the undercarriage, so to speak. And so I imagine our video conversation here has shown up in precise timing to offer a few perspectives as well as an embodied experience where together we shall apply a vibrational shift. Ooh, does that sound fun? Sounds fun to me. I'm Danielle Lynn, by the way. I talk to rad cat alchemists such as yourself who are living in an intentional way in their lives, who are choosing to explore this reality and apply the tools, the perspectives, and the ways of living that are most true to them. And so one of the things that we do in these video conversations is we offer perspectives for you to try on if you so choose. Now, one of the first things I'll invite you to is to check your heart right here, right now. I'm a big perceiver that we are all the ultimate choosers of our reality. And so if you'd like to go on this experiment experience, you can pause a moment. You can ask your heart, is this for me? And if it feels expansive, if it feels like a yes, then I invite us to proceed. If it feels like a pause, a no, or even just not that enthusiastic, well, maybe this is a video to check out another time. Now, that being said, I imagine if you're here that this is a yes for you. And so I'm thrilled to be connecting with you right here, right now, because it takes a certain kind of vibrational cohesion to meet at this moment for this level of conversation. What we're about to discuss has some pretty nuanced layers to it, but it also represents a certain kind of decisiveness that we would only be exploring if you are in the state of shift and alignment for this process right now. So go you. So first, a few caveats about reality. I've talked about this before in my other videos, but let's just say we are choosing to brush up a little bit on it for the sake of having the most excellent journey that we can here and now. One, time is all happening right now. We're not talking about timelines. We are understanding from a certain perspective, everything is happening here and now. The perception of time is a mental construct that we are engaging in. And it's not to say that you do not experience linear time. However, at a reality construct level, when you zoom out and you are looking at it from the perspective of what I'm going to key here as the higher self, it's like you're able to see the whole map at once. If you are in your human experience, you see one step at a time that appears to go sequentially. If you're zoomed out, you can see the whole map. You can see where everything has been, everything will be, and that could be one of the ways you look at time. We are experiencing a vibrational reality. From another perspective, everything's going on all at once, but it's not happening in, let's say, other spaces. It's happening all right here. It's happening all right now. And so whatever experience of you that you could imagine that you want is one that somewhere, somehow exists simultaneously as you vibrationally. Now, what I'm about to offer and invite you to is a way to attune yourself to that state right here, right now, so that instead of pretending that it must take a lot of time and effort for you to be from here to where you imagine you want to be. Instead, you are going to allow yourself the experience of the most easeful, cohesive, merging path possible for you from here right now. Does that sound good? All right. So, one of the first things to understand is the main form of resistance we have to living any other way is the idea that it's separate from us. When you want something, you are in the state of not having it. We can only want what we are pretending that we don't have. Now, you might have a very, let's say, real embodied experience where you're like, well, I want a romantic relationship and I don't have it, or I want this kind of wealth and money or I don't have it, etc., etc. The thing to understand is it's all vibrational. The external circumstances could be seen as symptoms reflecting a trajectory that you have been focusing on for whatever period of time. You are able to shift the focus of your inner vibrational state, even if outward appearances appear to be the same around you. It does not matter. If you are focusing inwardly on your vibrational state and you choose to anchor into that vibrational state, everything else that happens around you is like the equivalent of a theater or play that is unfolding until the state within you is also reflected in the state around you. When you are maintaining, when you are in this state, it is inevitable for the state around you to shift. What will sometimes happen when people go through this process is they will say, yes, I'm focused inward, but they are still looking for the external to reflect it back to them. And on some level, this means they have expectation or they are holding on to how it must appear to them because they want the outer to reflect the inner. So long as we want the outer to reflect the inner, we are still playing a vibrational game of have, not have. And so long as you play that game, you're in the vibrational state of creating have, not have. Seems very funny, right? It's kind of like one of those finger traps where the more you try and pull it apart, the tighter it gets. And the way to actually remove it is to relax the fingers together, and it falls off. So, what you often find is when you are choosing to attune to the state that you would like to exist in, it starts by first being aware of the state you're in now. So I'm going to invite us to do that right here, right now. I'm going to proceed because I'm imagining you chose a yes when you checked your heart. So here we go. So the way this can work is you can take a breath in and out. And we'll take another breath in. And you can feel how it feels to be in your body right now. Feel how it feels energetically, physically, vibrationally. Every single way that you feel right now is completely appropriate. Whatever the feeling is, no matter how nuanced it is, intense, soft, in between, how you feel right now is exactly what is needed. I invite you to take another breath in. And as you take this breath in, give yourself permission to feel the vastness of your feelings. Every single thing that is present right now. Not needing to change it or shift it or fix it. Simply allow yourself to feel and be. Now, this is the you state of right now. Notice how it feels, and if any images or colors come up for you. Now take another breath in. Now using your heart and your mind's eye together, imagine yourself in the form, in the state, in the shape that you most would choose to be right now. Now you can use imagery if you want. Maybe you have a certain life, job, house, way of living. Maybe you picture yourself in relationships. Allow yourself to be with that image and state for a bit and breathe in. Now, I'm going to invite you to really focus on how it feels here. Focus on how it feels here. And as you're focusing on how it feels, you can imagine gently that the images that come with the feeling are just dropping away a bit, like they're getting a little blurry, because what you're focusing on is the feeling. Almost like if it was a camera and the camera started zooming in and the other things around became blurry, but it was focusing more and more and more on that state. And that feeling here is representing a certain vibration. What are the qualities of this vibration? To be this person, how would you describe them? How would you envision them? Now breathe in. Come back to this present moment and how you feel now. Do you notice a contrast in how it felt to be that and how it feels to be here now? If you notice it, I invite you to stay with that feeling. If there's a discomfort, stay with it. If a story pops up, observe it, but pay it no mind. Allow it to flow through like leaves on the wind. Because the most important thing you're focusing on right now is the state of feeling between one way of being and the other. Both of these ways of being as you are existing simultaneously right now. Your ability to tune into that other state is pointing to the knowing that it exists right now. And while you conjured it up thinking about external stories, you are actually able to allow yourself to be in that vibrational presence now. So breathe in. Now ask yourself, ask your heart, the first thing that comes up, is there anything I perceive that stands in between the way I am being now and the other way I can be now? Is there a story, an idea, something that I imagine must be done first before I am allowed to be this? Sit with that curiosity for a moment or two. See what comes up. If nothing comes up, that's all right. If something comes up, I invite you to trust the first thing that emerged, because it is often the very first thing that emerges that is the resonant answer. Now simply observe that for a moment. If there was anything that you imagine must happen first, you can ask yourself curiously, can I imagine that this doesn't have to happen first? Can I imagine that nothing at all must happen before I am allowed to have these merge? Before I am allowed to be this experience? And breathe in. And feel what the answer is. See if you can identify the curious feeling that is willing to experiment with you not having to take any further steps other than claiming, yes, here and now, I am this. What you are doing is you are aligning yourself with the permission to embody this vibration now. And that is the step. That is the step for the shift into everything that you are. There is no other step more important than your yes and to embodying this vibration. I invite you to experiment with this as long as you like, to see at what juncture you allow yourself the yes and to embody that state now. Because from my perspective, there is nothing that must be done other than your yes choice from the core of your being to allow yourself to embody the state now. And then from that point forward, to be curious and allow yourself to operate from that state in all areas of your life from this point forward. In this way, you have essentially teleported that version of you to this now moment where you are. And you are the version you were, and you are also this version simultaneously. You have merged them. And now, every decision you make from here can be considered from the perspective of the version of you that is your most resonant yes. Remember, this isn't a mental concept of you. This is a vibrational knowing of what it is to be you in the most cohesive version you can picture now. And breathe in. And as you breathe out, I invite you to playfully consider that you've just walked yourself through an embodiment step and process of allowing yourself to explore stepping into your most cohesive vibrational self that is available to you now. And what this invites you to do is to make your vibrational state a priority in all your decision making. When a story seems to want to emerge in opposition to it, you can know that it is not necessary to give in to the story, that you can continue to effortlessly reorient yourself to your yes and vibrational state, understanding that the goal isn't avoidance of challenges, nor is it grasping at a certain outcome. What we do in this way, what we be in this way, is through the cultivating of the frequency, the reality around you inevitably shifts as you simultaneously release the expectation of how it must shift. This is the other part of it. I understand that for some in this process, you might explore this pathway. You might be, let's say, curious about ways to keep on this track, to be kind to yourself, to not overgrasp at the vibrational state while also allowing yourself to integrate it. I will mention, we have the Self-Alchemy Lab. This is in my description. This is the group of intentionality and synchronicity that I currently cultivate. And it is one of the places, if you would like to further cultivate this way of being in the vibrational state that you are choosing, this is one of the places where you can land so that you not only have the material, as we do have many trainings in there, but you will have this reflection of consistent coherence. It has a vibrational quality that amplifies whatever state that you are choosing to really go in on, while also providing some reflections from the community, from others who are choosing to travel in this way as well. I find we fly very far together when we choose resonant community. And so I invite you to check your heart, and I invite you to check it out yourself. I also have other links in the description which you can check out if you like. And in all cases, I appreciate you, my friend, and I look forward to our next conversation.